Welcome to The Dark Side with Verity, a podcast where we dive into all the real and raw transformations made possible through breathwork. We all have a dark side, but it doesn't need to be heavy. And this is why we share stories to bring in the lightness, to lift the load so that we can all feel a little less alone and know that our stuff doesn't define us. And we move through this lifetime with more ease and grace. Let's dive right in. This episode, as always, continues to kind of journey through my life. So I had a beautiful experience being in Bali recently, and I really wanted to share that with you guys because I feel it's important to continue to share the journey of grief. It is not something that I deal with every day anymore, but there's definitely times and places where it pops into your world where you kind of think, wow, I wasn't really ready for that. So let's begin with the breath. Close your eyes. Let's take a big inhale through the nose. Pull it all the way to the top of your head and then sigh it out. Beautiful. Let's do one more together. And a full release. Amazing. Welcome. Thank you for being here as always. I find so much joy in being able to share this stuff. I recently just recorded a video for my business builders to welcome everybody in. And one thing that I always seem to be saying at the forefront of everything I launch or create is that I create from a space that it's what I wish I had earlier. Because we're all navigating this life, like nobody ever really knows. But the more we share our stories and know that we're not alone, this journey becomes a lot easier. So this one is my experience in Bali with breathwork, and it ties in grief, like 14 years on now. So it always gets easier. That's life does not get harder. It gets easier. So the experience that I had was a somatic breathwork experience. So what that is more physical experience for majority of people, I would say, because you're dropping into your body and with physical poses prior to beginning your breathe. So it wasn't a long conscious connected breathwork by any means, but it was more somatic movement prior to our session starting. It was all to do with the psoas, and so releasing through your hips, and that's where we generally tend to store a lot of this stuff. So for me, this experience was much needed. It's beautiful to be held by my facilitators, people that I know. A lot of the people that I go to now with breathwork experiences that I've either trained or they're my friends. So it was really nice to be in a space where I knew nobody and I went by myself, and in this breathe, I just had all this stuff come up that I had this overwhelming sensation. And let me preface this by saying that when we have these feelings or emotions come up, it's generally not exactly how we feel now, potentially. It's perhaps something that we've felt years ago or as a child that we didn't feel we had then at a moment. It's somewhere stored in our body. It doesn't mean it's our overarching thought for everything. And so this was a feeling of not feeling protected. And in the breathe, I was running through all of these things that had happened in my life that I felt that I wasn't protected or didn't have anyone that had my back. I know logically that that's not true, okay? But that's how I felt in the breathe at the time, because there was so much evidence of moments in life that I wasn't protected or supported. And in that moment, like a lot of things, I tend to go on in and find a reason or have my own back. And before I could even say I am protected, my whole body, I saw this beautiful green light. You would think I'm all way crazier after hearing this, but I love sharing this. It's one of my favorite parts of being a facilitator is that people feel really comfortable to share their stories with me and their experiences. And so it was this beautiful green light that came through, and I had a visualization of Josh, my partner that passed away, and it wasn't strong. To be completely honest, he doesn't come in every single day or anything like that. It's rare, or when I call it in, which is something I love to do. So he came in and then it was just this inner knowing that I am protected. And it wasn't me. It's a mantra that came through and it was, I am protected. Whether you call it God, higher power, Josh, whatever you want to call it felt really good for my body that it wasn't just me having to have my own back. So in this moment, I can understand why people look for religion or look for a community or a belief system that's higher than ourselves. Because when you have these experiences, you have this inner knowing. Whether you're spiritual or not or believe in any of this, that's up to you. It's just when you experience it, you're like, there is something greater. And that's a beautiful, very much relaxing space to be in because it's exhausting to do everything all on your own. To run a business, to run a life, if you have kids, just living and knowing that it's all on you can feel like a lot. So it's nice to kind of palm this stuff off a little bit, I feel. And so throughout this breathwork experience, it felt very safe within my body and it felt very calm, even though it was a big cathartic cry. Not say big, like I just have tears running down. It's in a room, it's in a gym, at the top of the gym. And I would say there was about maybe 40 people or 30 to 40 people in the room. At the end of the session, I pulled a card and it said home. And so that's choosing a new home, a space where you're meant to be. And then I came home, my Bali home, and I had this thing like I am generally happy wherever I am. And this sometimes I feel like can be maybe a little bit of a blessing and a curse because it means I'm not really fussed about where I'm living. It means that I can make the best of every situation, but I probably need to be a little bit more intentional about what it is exactly that I want. When it comes to location, apart from being close to the ocean, there's not really much else. Yes, a beautiful home, feeling comfortable and cozy is always optimal. And I just felt very blessed that that is a quality that I have. Because I know some people are very obsessed about their environment. And yes, that matters. It's just that it's really a nice experience to know that you have a beautiful place at home within yourself and you can make the best of every situation or scenario. So for me, every breathwork session is such a gift still after thousands of breathes. And so I came home and wrote down, I'm protected. And that was it. And then I had a really nice big cry. Like one of those cries that you wake up the next morning and you have bulldog eyes. One of those. They feel really good at the time. And sometimes you're like, I could stop crying right now, but this feels good and I might as well just get it all out now. We're here now. And I was recording voice notes because I was sharing my experience. And I was getting quite emotional in saying that. But also at the same time, it felt nice to have that release. As we navigate grief, I feel it's important to keep sharing our experience along the way, sharing our journey along the way, because there's people in life that have not experienced any form of grief yet, and beautiful for them. The ones who have, it's like you're kind of experiencing life backwards. You learn the worst, and then I guess you work really hard to find the best in every solution, every scenario, because you realize there's no point in stressing about stuff that is really not going to matter. And the things that are really important, like relationships, people, where you spend your time and how you value yourself, that's what really matters. But we're all human and we can get caught up in the realm of stress and overwhelm and money and all of the things because we are still human and we go through these cycles of life, and it's important to acknowledge them all and experience them to a depth and degree that you always remain curious. And that's why I will continue to go to breathwork sessions that are held by different people so that I am supported in different ways. because you get really comfy in your own practice, and it's nice to step outside of that and be held. So having this experience in this breathwork session was the breath in that moment. I think also largely part of what I've been doing since December. So every morning when I wake up, it's a minimum of 10 minutes meditation. And this is me guiding myself back to my breath and being present in that moment and practicing that. Also practicing what I can change, like actionable steps that I can take to move me forward towards my ideal life, my ideal goals. And I have been getting so delusional about this. I will share this all later on, but I highly recommend. One, because it's actually really fun, and it's a great way to connect with your best friends and have a laugh together, because you're then manifesting the life that you want. So whether it's money you're calling in, whether it's a person you're calling in, a new home, whatever it is, it's fun to share what you're manifesting. So it's in all of my group chats, along with a lot of memes and a lot of voice clips and notes, because why not have fun while you do it? So I guess overall in this is I want to share that grief is something that never stops, because I know in the beginning I almost like wanted the feeling to stop, but it doesn't. Your body gets used to being able to hold more and expand more, and that's what's really supportive, because the more you try and push something away, you're still giving it energy and it still has power over you. The quicker we are to accept feels really good. And so the second part of this was I think it was the Thursday night, the breathwork session, and it was I am protected. And then a few days later, I had a dream. And I haven't had a dream where it was like a full story dream in a long time, where the whole night I was dreaming and it was like start to finish this entire journey. And the dream was about Josh, and I'd found him. I'd found him on this island. He had married somebody else. She had had kids, and then they had had kids together. It was the first time that I've ever imagined him growing. Like when he died, he was 27. And so it's almost like that point has been frozen for me for so long. But in this dream, and I was so calm and so happy in this dream, I imagined him grown and moved on away from me. And he'd also like lasered off his tattoos. And yeah, he was happy. And I woke up so calm, because in this dream, I'd gone and found him, we'd reconnected, I'd met all his kids, and then I brought him back to meet everybody, like meet my mum. I remember introducing him back to my mum in the dream, and they had a big hug and reconnected, and all my family. And then I remember thinking, is this weird? Is this weird that he died and now he's back and we're all hanging out again? And we had this really beautiful bond in the dream. But it's probably the first time ever in 14 years that I had imagined him moving on, or his soul moving on and him growing. So as the modern day dream finder, of course I've chat GPT this. I've gone in and typed it all in, and it's confirmed that for me too, that it's almost like I don't think there's any final destination to grief, but it was a really good indication that I was very accepting of him moving on. So it's that place that I'm accepting of me moving on. And that's been very prominent for me at the moment as mirroring and reflective of all that story is. I think it's me giving myself full permission and knowing that it's okay to move on years later. That's final permission for myself to allow myself to be fully happy. Permission from me, because I could see him happy, moved on. so strange, but so beautiful at the same time. So it's been a very wild couple of days, and this is only very recent, so I thought I'd share it while it was recent for me. So this is all a bit muddled and jumbled, and it's not that I'm integrating it anymore. It's just that it's a really beautiful and new way to experience grief and healing from grief, because sometimes we want permission when the only permission that we require is permission from ourselves and looking after ourselves, putting ourselves first. So dreams can be a really beautiful way for that to land for us. And so I say breath work is always my biggest tool, but it's one part, right? Because dreams, journaling, meditation, walking, gardening, whatever it is for you that allows you to be present in that moment and be true to yourself is where you're going to find these big, beautiful changes. And it's funny because most dreams, I guess we don't really remember them all, but this was like a full, detailed story of permission. So nobody else can give you permission. It can only come from you and perhaps even your dreams. I'm going to leave you with that today. What an episode. Take care. That is a wrap of The Dark Side with Verity. Thank you for joining and being here to support our guests as they move, shift, and share through real transformation, sharing their stories from the darkest of places, allowing you to see their light. This is where the change will happen. You know the drill. Like, share, chat about it, connect with us. We're here for more, and you know it.